News out is that the most inept politician in this country is actually guilty of telling Ian Cameron to.
So the Parliamentary Ethics Committee, I mean, I've never heard of this thing before. Apparently it does exist. They received a complaint from the Karens of the political world, i.e. the DA, about Becky's outburst. And the Ethics Committee, after many years of rumination and looking around and wondering what to do, they said, yes, it's very unparliamentary for Becky Taylor to shout, and therefore he must apologize. That's the official sanction. But Becky Taylor did come out and say,
no, simply we're taking this to review. We don't agree with it.
He is not apologizing. He's going to take it on review. Apparently, he's going to go to court and say the sanction is unwarranted, which leads me to think, Byron, the ANC in general, and Becky Taylor in particular, they refuse to have any accountability whatsoever. This sanction is like the most milquetoast vanilla sanction. Just say sorry to the guy, and he still refuses to do it.
Yep, the problem is that by saying sorry to the guy, he would actually have to admit fault. And one of the things Becky Taylor is never going to do is admit fault to a white guy. And if you understand the notion of anti-racism, it basically means you get to be racist to white people. It's not that you have zero racism, that everybody's on the same playing field. And so if you consider that this white boy is actually a lower station of you, why would you apologize to him? I mean, what do you think we are? Equals? Well, Becky doesn't think he's equal to him. In fact, he thinks Ian Cameron's like the scum of the earth.
Yeah, apparently respect is somehow given due to position, not earned like in normal society. Which leads us to another disrespectful character called Floyd Shivambu, or I like to call him Fraud Shivambu, based on a complaint in 2018. They've come out to say, yes, Fraud Shivambu received some money from VBS through an intermediary company, and therefore he received 180,000 Rand undeclared income during his time as a member of parliament, so therefore they're going to dock him 9 days of pay. Interestingly enough, shock and horror, Fraud Shivambu says that's not true. He's taking it on review as well.
For those of you who don't know, we actually have a second channel where we do live streaming called Morning Shot Live. And yesterday we did a video on this. And in that video, we actually critiqued what exactly had gone on. And he's effectively going to get fined what's the equivalent of like 10,000 Rand in fines for having stolen it. So, I mean, it's a great way to make money, right? I mean, the penalty is far less than the actual crime and what you made on it. It's kind of like thieving 101. But the problem, Ramon, is that if he pays the money and if he accepts the penalty, de facto what he's actually doing is admitting that he stole the money. He doesn't want to admit he stole the money. That's going to cause a massive load of problems for him in the EFF.
The fact that this guy is not in jail or in court for the VBS heist is just remarkable to me. Because Paulie van Wyk from the Daily Maverick, we hate the Daily Maverick, but they do relatively good investigative pieces, has a litany of evidence to show how the EFF looted VBS Bank. They took all the Gogo's money and they spent it on Louis Vuitton and weddings, right? Parliament comes out and says, yeah, there's a bit of truth to this, and yet no one else bats an eyelid, right? Hundreds of millions of rands have been stolen from VBS Bank by the EFF and others. And the MPA does nothing. EFSA already hated the EFF. Why wouldn't he take them down at this time of the year, especially before an election? None of this makes sense. Like, everyone is just retarded, or people just don't know how to be strategic anymore.
Van Wyk, they, them, while she may be the world's largest Karen, working for the Daily Maverick as well, her journalism on this was actually pretty well thought out. And she did highlight in very meticulousness exactly how Floyd and Julius supposedly allegedly heisted the money from VBS. And we have to say allegedly because none of them have actually been tried. And according to the latest documentation, they ain't going to be tried. Because apparently, according to the Parliamentary Ethics Committee and according to the state prosecutor, there isn't enough evidence to actually prosecute them. Because, they definitely didn't do it. Even though Paulie actually detailed meticulously exactly how she did it. In fact, she went one step further. She actually said, if you don't believe me, prosecute me for defamation and I'll show you in court how you did it. And lo and behold, no defamation claims have been raised so far. So in this instance, I'm tending to agree with Paulie. She probably has good evidence to show that it was done. But as we've seen, even when you have a video of the guy shooting an assault rifle on stage, you have to doubt your eyes, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, no evidence is ever going to be good enough.
But interestingly, I do wonder if the timing is a bit suspicious. The election is up in May next year. Maybe the ANC want to bring down the EFF a peg or two and are using fraud as that leveling point. Because if fraud leaves the EFF, it's going to be much poorer for it. He is apparently the intellectual behind it. I saw some interviews with him where he went to Wits from some shithole town in the northwest. He didn't know what anything in the world was. He read Karl Marx, and that's all he's been reading since then. So he's the intellectual front of the EFF, whereas Julius is just a grifter, and we know that very, very well. But I wonder if the ANC, if they are smart, are using fraud Shivambu as a squeezing point for the EFF, or either for fraud to turn coat against Julius Malema. Because imagine you could have Florence Shivambu just tell everyone what exactly is happening in that party. That's going to be a goldmine of information.
But I have my doubts, man. I have my doubts that this is ever going to go anywhere because, we're sitting all this amount of time later. I mean, EFF just turned 10. In 10 years, they've had scandals upon scandals upon scandals. So no one's ever gone cold for it. No one's ever been tried. I don't see why anything would change now.
So for those keeping track, if you want to make a lot of money, bear no responsibility whatsoever, and never get punished, just become a politician. We all need to tilt away from Eskom, but optimizing solar panels can be quite tricky. However, thanks to Solar Tilt, that problem is now in the past. Very much like Eskom. Solar Tilt's unique, patented system lets you tilt your solar panels towards the sun, which optimizes energy production throughout the entire day. And it can be installed on any roof type as well. Solar Tilt is made in South Africa for South African conditions, therefore making it almost impossible to steal thanks to its anti-theft brackets. Being proud patriots, Solar Tilt is made in South Africa for South Africans. So tilt away from the darkness and into the light with Solar Tilt. For more info, check out their website and Facebook page, which is linked below.